Good morning. Good morning. Today we have Dale Comstock from Delta Force. Welcome, brother. How are you?
Very good, man. Thanks for having me on, Rob. Appreciate it.
A pleasure and an honor for everyone to meet your acquaintance today. You're a true legend. Some people know you from Dale. Other people know you from the American Badass, Delta Force. So, can you tell everybody out there a little bit about who you are?
Sure. All right. So, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So, first of all, I'm 60 years old. It's like, ooh. And as we were talking earlier, I look a little emaciated right now. I've been on the carnivore diet and I've lost, I went from 212 pounds to 184 pounds in the last 5 weeks. So, intentionally, right? I'm losing all this weight. I'm actually getting ready for a bodybuilding show this summer and another professional boxing match. I want to get back in the ring, get back on the stage. But, anyways, background. Um, well, I did 20 years in the U.S. Army as a Green Beret, as a Delta Force operator.
20 years.
20 years. I spent a few years in the 82nd Airborne Division as an infantryman, as a long-range scout. And then I retired in 2001, ended up getting recruited by OGA. I want to say the Alphabet Company as a paramilitary officer for them. And I did that for about nine and a half years, spent a lot of time downrange, Afghanistan, Iraq. Actually, I've been in every conflict from Grenada in 1983 to the present conflicts abroad, particularly, and the last one being Yemen in 2015, 2016. I've owned several companies throughout the years. I've sold companies. I sold my first company. I sold a G4S Whack and Hut. They bought it because they were trying to get rid of the competition, i.e. me. And I was happy to sell them the company because that's why I built it, to sell it. And so I started many companies thereafter. I ended up on television for a while. My first TV show was on Discovery Channel, One Man Army. And then that led to NBC Stars and Stripes, where I was on there with Terry Crews. And then that, ended up getting basically recruited, if you will, and by a production company. And then ended up on more television shows and productions and things like that. I did that for a few years and then realized that, the Hollywood thing is, it's kind of fun, I guess, for a minute, but actually it was just not my culture. Honestly, it's not. It's a very liberal left-wing culture, and it just was not conducive to who I was as a human being, as a soldier. I come from a conservative culture, particularly military. My dad was in the Army for 20 years. I grew up in that culture, spent 20 years in. My son's in the Green Beret. My sister, I can go into my whole family's got a military culture, And so it was a culture, it was kind of a culture shock for me out there. And I had a lot of potential. I was told by many producers if I would move to Los Angeles, they would put me on a lot of shows. And, in time, they actually thought I could be the next Danny Trejo, right? And I thought, yeah, I'm not that ugly, but okay. so anyways, I finally just decided to move on. I sold another company that was operating at the same time. Actually, I didn't sell it. The company that bought my company went under, which didn't matter. I was making quite a bit of money in Hollywood. And I just one day pulled 10 pegs and moved to Hong Kong, where I ran a security detail for a multi-billionaire investment banker. I lived over there for a while downtown in Hong Kong, and then met my wife, who's Indonesian. She went back to Indonesia. I went back to Florida, and then I ended up going back to Florida, chasing that tail. And, and so I ended up over there and kind of looked around and go, hey, I see some business opportunities here, right? And I made it work. I became partners with another billionaire. Didn't work out. I won't go into the story now, but I ended up, again, pulling chocks on the vehicles and rolling down to Bali with my wife, the family, and all our furniture, all our belongings, our canines. And we set up a security company in Bali. And I've been there now 5 years, providing explosive detector dogs, narcotic dogs, patrol attack dogs for Marriott properties, and a lot of the local venues around there, 24/7, 365. So we have a nice little enterprise going on there. And so I maintain a home there. I maintain a home in Florida. I maintain a home in Manila. And so the nice thing is I kind of travel when I want. I'm an independent consulting contractor. So I don't have a boss except for my wife, and she's not very bossy either. She kind of lets me do what I want. But I have that freedom, that luxury to travel around and just enjoy life, and work when I want and not work when I don't want. So here I am. I'm actually talking to you right now from Florida. I just came back from Bali. Actually, I was in the Philippines 2 weeks ago. And prior to that, I was, of course, in Bali for a while, and I'll be heading back to Bali next week. So I think that's the big picture.
Nice, brother. Yeah. So tell us, what's it like? What's it like being a Delta Force for anybody out there wanting to maybe go in your footsteps, and become a Delta Force? What does it take to be Delta Force?
Well, let me caveat that by saying it's been a long time since I was a Delta Force operator. However, once a Delta Force operator, also always a Delta Force operator, because it's something I earned. It's not something that was just given to me temporarily. I did the long walk. I did the hard walk to get there. So it is by far the most difficult selection process in the world, bar none. And here's why. And here's the difference. If you go through Ranger School, Special Forces Qualification, Navy SEAL BUDS, you go through as a group, right? You roll around the sand, right. You push ups, you scream and holler, you sing, you cry, right? And then, when you can't do it anymore, you quit. When you go through Delta Force selection, it's an individual effort. You go through the entire program by yourself. It's physically very arduous. It's designed that way to make you break down mentally by yourself. And then eventually you're going, okay, I'm either going to make this on my own or I'm not. I have no one to draw inspiration from. I don't have a herd to camouflage myself with and hide in between and just nug it out and squeeze it by. I'm out front and center, and they're all watching me under a microscope. And so in that regard, it's, your hardest adversary in life is yourself, your mind, and your heart. And in fact, we have a saying when I was over there, especially during the selection process. If a candidate said, "Sir, I'd like to voluntarily withdraw," my whatever coochie's bleeding, I got a blister on my foot, I got an owie somewhere. It's like, okay, you voluntarily withdraw, you're out. And then the question is, "Sir, can I come back and try again?" And the answer is always, without exception, no. It's because in the line, the term, the words they use is this: you can have a change of mind, but you can't have a change of heart. And there it is, right? You can change your mind all you like, but what's in your heart, right? Your heart would have kept you going. And, for people to argue, well, what if you're physically hurt? Well, if you're really physically hurt, they'll know that, right? And they'll pull you. But I know guys that have gone through, literally on my team, with two broken legs, all right, and continue the course, duct tape themselves together, didn't say a damn word, made it all the way through. And then once the course was complete, they made it through this, the commander's board, they made it through the final psychological evaluation and say, "Okay, I took to a medic now," and they're like, "Whoa," and so, so it really comes down to what's in your heart and how bad you want it. When I went through, so normally the courses are about 100 candidates. The courses are twice a year. My course had 110 candidates for whatever reason, I don't know. Of the 110 that went through, 6 of us completed the course and 3 of us were selected. I was the youngest operator at the time, at the age of 23, to be selected, when the average age is 33 for guys to get selected. So you have to have a lot of military experience, life experience, and you need to have some, you have to have some miles, man, on the tachometer, which I didn't. But what I did have is I had a big engine under the hood that got me through the program. So, there's a lot of other variables that are scrutinized right off the bat. For example, you can't just say, "I want to go to Delta Force," all right? You've got to apply, and the application process requires things like psychological evaluations. They're going to look at your background. Have you had any judicial punishment or action taken against you? Those are all disqualifiers. Your age, your rank, GT score, which is like a military IQ score. All these things are considered right before you're even allowed to apply to go to Delta selection. Like, whoa. And so, and then and if you make it through the actual assessment selection process, which is the physical part, it's also mental, by the way. And by the way, during the physical part, you get as much food as you want, you get as much sleep as you want. It's bizarre. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's good food. I get good food, and I get plenty of sleep. And why is this so damn hard? It is the most weird thing, but it works. And it's amazing the guys that just can't make it, because it always comes.
Thank you. I know that the people enjoy watching. Next, next up, so you wrote a book. Is the book? Can you tell us about the book American Badass?
So, yeah. So what happened was, I actually wrote the book in 2012. It came out on actually on the 4th of July. And the reason I wrote the book is I was on a TV show with Chris Kyle, the American Sniper. Now I never met Chris Kyle before. I didn't even know he wrote a book called American Sniper. I didn't have any idea, right? And we're talking, we're on sitting on the show, we're all bullshit.
So he's the author of American Sniper.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. And that's the guy you're working with.
Well, I was working with him on a TV set on a TV show called Stars and Stripes. And and people started talking about the book. I didn't know you wrote a book. He goes, yeah, well, I kind of wrote it, but I had a ghostwriter write it for me, and I said, oh, okay. And then the next thing out of his mouth was, he goes, you know what? He goes, but I want to read your book. I want to grow up to be like you. Now, at the time, he was 32, and I think I was 47, 48. And so I turned around and got on my phone, and I called my management team and go, hey, I got to write a book, right? And that's like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I said, it's time to write a book. I said, however, I don't want to write a book. I want to write an autobiography, but I don't want it just to be about me. I want it to be about lessons learned in life, and I want to inspire and motivate young American men. Because even back then, I saw what was happening to the youth. The skinny jeans. The weirdness. The emasculation by the feminists and the women, and the and the betas out there. And I was concerned that, man, they are going to dilute, masculinity, and they're going to target our young men, and the warrior class, if you will. And I didn't want to see that, man, because that's not how I grew up. I grew up in the military with my father. I played Army every day, I grew up in that kind of a Gogi kind of lifestyle, the Spartan kind of mindset, because I was in the military, lived in the military communities all my childhood life up until I was 18, went to high school. So I wrote the book with that in mind. It's like, it's not, even though it's not a biography, it's as much about you as it is about me. It's kind of how I term it. So I wrote the book in less than 6 months.
Nice.
It actually took me 3 weeks to write it. But then I had to, I sent it to some people to check the grammar on it and spelling, and then editing and binding it and creating an actual book itself, the cover, the whole process, registering it. So it was 6 months, which is actually pretty fast for publications. And so everything that I did with the book was deliberate. For example, it's not a very thick book, because what I know is most people will not read a book from front to back. They'll read maybe 30%, put it down, especially if it gets too long, right? So I wanted to make it short, concise, to the point, and lessons learned. So I think it worked out pretty well. And then on 4th of July, it actually came out, and it did really well. But it's a book about my life stories up to that point in 2012, right? And how I grew up, my family, my father, the mentors in my life, my military experiences, and the lessons I learned, from some of my deployments downrange, about people, about humanity, and things like that. So, it's designed. I had to laugh one time. I went to an Amazon, one of the Amazon pages, and there was a critique on there by some chick, gave me a 1 star. She goes, I don't like the book. All he does is talk about himself. I'm like, yeah, because it's not a biography, but but anyways, whatever, it is what it is. You still there? Yeah, I lost you. Yeah. But your picture kind of blanked out on me. Yeah, but that's what the book is about. Since then I've been, I started writing. I said started. I'm not even close to even finishing 5 more books, because after that, my book came out, and I had this career shift. I retired in 2001, by the way. So the rest of this time I'm doing consulting, contracting, all kinds of stuff. Working for the OGA, and then in 2012 the TV stuff started happening. And that's where I wrote the book up to. And then after that, I had pretty much a second life, which I thought this was like going to be the end of all the action guy stuff. And it actually turned out to be almost like the beginning, because since that time, I have literally personally, on my own, I've done things like running operations to recover Americans and expats out of foreign countries that were basically had their visas taken away for all kinds of weird reasons. They were basically called the velvet cage. They couldn't get out. My job was to, I got paid to extradite them and get them out of there quietly under the radar. Nobody could see them. I've traveled around the world doing a fixer type of work, if you will. Hey, I got a problem with a guy in this country. He did this, he did that. Can you help me out? Yep, I can help you out. I literally have, I can go on and on. I've run bodyguard details. I've been a bodyguard in Los Angeles, bodyguard in Hong Kong, many other places. And I can go on and on, but there's several stories going to come out to include my exploits as a mercenary, a real mercenary, not a Blackwater dude, but a mercenary, downrange in foreign countries, working for friendly country governments, prosecuting some of their targets using my skill sets. So I got, like I said, I have a lot of stories in the works. It's just finding the time to write them all out, but I will. I'll get to it. I'm trying to figure out how to make some mini-me's. I need like 5 more of me to help me out here, but it's not gonna work, man. I'm by myself. I know it. So I'm gonna get to it, and they'll come out. I don't think they'll be hard copy. There might be some available as hard copies, but basically I'm gonna put them out as ebooks because that's what people are buying these days. They want a hard copy for an autograph, and maybe put it on their bookshelf. But most people just want to buy the e-copy. So I'm gonna start with the e-copy. I have a means to do production for a paperback or hardback, but I think e-copy is the way to go. It's cheaper and it's easier for me to jam out. So, but more is on the way. More crazy stories. You haven't heard nothing yet.
Yeah, you should be on Netflix, my friend, or Amazon Prime with all your stories.
Well, I have my book is on Amazon. That's the only place you can get is through Amazon, right? I self-published. I figured why give all my money and profits to a book company. I don't know. I just wanted to get the story out there, but I have some stories that I believe are good enough that it could potentially become a movie. I'm just kind of keeping a lot of this information close hold now until I get it written and copyrighted, just for that purpose. But I've done some really bizarro things that you might read in a Tom Clancy book or something, or seeing a movie that's it's kind of scientific. But I've actually done some really cool things in my life, and here I am still alive to tell about it. So I'm not sure why I'm around. For some reason, I have a purpose to somebody, or for some reason, and we'll see what it is soon. I hope, because I'm getting, I'm not in my twilight years, and that's another, thing I try to tell people is I'm 60, but I feel like I'm 20, 30 years old in every regard, man. I don't feel bad because I eat well, I exercise, take care of my body.
Look good, yeah. You look good, bro. You look 20 years old still.
You got the guns, and it's about taking care of yourself, not just physically, but psychologically, and learning stress. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier about, suicide and things like that, man. And, man, it's just too bad that too many people take their lives unnecessarily, man. It's like, you got to be stronger than that, man. That's a defeatist attitude. Oh, the world won, I quit. Take me out, come on. It's all up here, man. And, whatever you perceive is what you're going to achieve, man. If you perceive that you're worthless and you should die, then that's probably where you're going to go. However, you perceive yourself as, a lion on this planet, and you're going to prevail, and you're going to win, and you're going to overcome, then that's what you're going to do. I've experienced, personally, I've never had suicidal thoughts. And I'll tell you why I didn't have suicidal thoughts. Not because I don't have the potential for it, but my grandfather, who I love very much, in Germany, committed suicide at a very old age. Yeah, and it was really the most bizarre thing, because every weekend, my mom and my sister and I, we would all go visit my grandparents, the Germans. And one day we show up, my grandmother and grandfather had a really bad argument about something, and like, what is going on here? And then my mom lost her shit, and then, and then she's like, I'm not coming back, and blah, 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 blah. And we leave, and then the next day we found out that he had left the home, took a bag of peanuts with him, put it in his coat, and he left. And nobody knew where he was at, couldn't find him, nothing, right? And so my dad and my uncle went looking for him, and everybody was a big search for him. And I think a day or two later, they found him down by this river called the Donau. The Donau River. I used to walk all the time with my uncle's dog and my grandfather. And me and him would just hold hands and walk. You know, I was a little kid at the time, and these long walks. You know, it was really nice, man. I still remember all that very clearly. Well, he went down to the Donau River on the trail there that we walked, and he hung himself from a tree, right? And by the way, I said, you know, I keep saying issue and I don't say problem because there's no such thing as a problem, and not in my world. There's only challenges. It starts off as an issue, identify it, and you go, what is this issue? Okay, you could say that's problematic, but I don't say the word, it's a challenge, you know? It ain't looking good, but I'm going to win. I'm going to overcome this, right? And so that's my hypothesis. And the fourth one is what I call your intuition, okay? A little voice in the back of your head, that gut feeling. It's always right. It's always right. It's part of the subconscious. The subconscious controls 95 to 98% of your behavior. That's right. 95. We're running on an operating system in our subconscious, the mind. And that subconscious has been programmed by what? Conscious thoughts. So whatever you accept as a truth or as a lie, whatever, consciously, and you accept that, it becomes part of the subconscious operating system. And therefore your operating system is using that data that you put in there, which may not necessarily be good data, right? And so this is why I said it's important consciously to get an education, to get some experience, to arrive at, conclusions, long before you ever have to cross that road, that bridge, and lastly, listen to the intuition. It knows everything. We don't want to trust it, especially as men. We don't believe the intuition because why? I use a Freudian model in that we have the id, the ego, and the superego, and the consciousness. Three assholes in the front seat making bad decisions all the time, right? Because we think we know it all, right? And we're motivated by all kinds of stuff, our ego and our desires and stuff like that. But we also try to look at things logically. Unfortunately, our logical thinking is skewed by information that we're bringing in that we accept as truth. And it's not, for example, we're programmed by our parents, our teachers, the news media, our figures of authority, all our lives. And so we accept most of that information as that it's got to be accurate because they said so, just to find out later in life, at my age, you go, damn, that was all bullshit, right? And so I've been operating off that BS, in my subconscious. So, I guess what I'm trying to really going with this thing is at the end of the day, suicide's selfish. You got to be stronger than that. If you think you're having that red light come on, you need to talk to somebody that knows, somebody's been there, right? And not just a guy that's almost committed suicide and recovered. You need to talk to someone that's like me, for example. I've been warned, just like you have, strong potential to commit suicide if things go really sideways on you. And I've had a lot of things go really, really sideways and backwards and upside down. And I'm still here, killing it. But because it's how I think, not what I think. That's so important. How to think and not what to think. Okay. What to think is all kinds of data that people give you. A lot of it's just wrong or false or inaccurate. But if you know how to think, which is a science in itself, you learn how to filter all this garbage, filter all this information, and pick out, what actually matters and what's important and actually what works. And you program yourself for that. I've lost a lot of friends to suicide. Unfortunately, I wish I could have been there for them, but by the time I found out, they were already gone. But I've had guys call me, go, "Hey, I'm right on the edge. I'm getting ready to freaking check out," and guys don't even know. Veterans, and and then they exacerbate the problem with drinking, and drugs, and that only compounds the problem because, alcohol, even drugs, what it actually does is alter your frequency within your body, your energy, and energy and frequency within the body literally affects you physiologically as well as psychologically. And earlier when we talked about diet, you were 100% right. What you eat and your digestive system directly impacts your brain, not just how you think, but your brain. So when your brain is not functioning optimally because your digestive system's off, guess what? You're probably going to make good decisions. You're probably more subjected to, emotional, swings and sensitivities and things like that. And so taking care of your body is a very good first step. Get healthy, check your diet, eat right. Let's make sure that the vehicle is carrying this is functioning at optimal levels. It doesn't have to be bodybuilder stuff, but we need to be what we call homeostasis. Everything is in order and operating, correctly. And then we talk about the brain and the mind, which are two separate entities, by the way.
Right.
The brain and the mind are one thing. No, actually, me and a lot of neurophysicists will disagree. The brain is an organ. You can touch it. It's got form. It has substance. And then the mind doesn't have form, but it has substance. We know it's there, but actually, I believe it's actually all part of the entire nervous system throughout the body. There's some other stuff, and I can kind of support that notion. But the mind is not only as part of our nervous system; it's actually part of it's exogenous. It's outside of us as well, right? So, but anyways, those three, the body, the brain, and the mind need to be literally in homeostasis. They need to be leveled. Think of them as three cogs in a wheel, the wheel of life. All right. In order for that wheel to turn true, all three of those need to be of equal length, those spokes. Otherwise, you're going to have a wobbly wheel, right? And that's where most people are. They run down the road on a wobbly wheel. And we need to get all those things congruent and equal. And I think it's very important. Any shortness in one will affect the other two. Okay. It'll affect the whole ride, so to speak. So, all I can tell you guys out there, if anybody's ever contemplating it, or you might contemplate it one day, is recognize the red flashing light for what it is, and don't go down that road. You'll regret it. You'll regret it, but once you check out, you won't regret it. But then it's too late, right? You'll have just literally, compromised, sacrificed, forfeited the best years of your life that would have been in front of you. They're there in front of you. They're there in front of you. They're coming, but nobody has a perfect life. We have our ups and downs, and it's that's what they call life, and nobody's life is just perfect, and it ebbs and flows and things happen, and that's part of the experience. But just giving up, going, it's nothing but doom and gloom, and then not having the foresight to look down the road, and having the courage and say, hey, I can change my life. I can make it better. I just got to get around some obstacles. No big deal. I'll get around these obstacles. If you can't do that, you're not going nowhere. And everybody can do that. Everybody can do that. You're born with a brain, right? So use it. That's what separates us from the animals. And it's just sad state of affairs, man, And I know others that have committed suicide. I have high school friends jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, literally. No, the Oakland Bay Bridge, not the Golden Gate Bridge. But it's like, what's going through your mind? It's so bad that you got to kill yourself, Look at it like this. Maybe you did something bad. Maybe something bad happened to you. Okay, it's pretty bad. So what? Use it as a life experience that you can grow from and help other people grow from, right?
Right.
Turn it into a gift. Yeah, it was bad, but you know what? I'm going to give you a gift of experience, and lessons learned, so you don't wreck your life too. And that's why I said suicide is very selfish. It's very selfish. It's very selfish. And at the end of the day, you can go see a psychologist all you want. And what do psychologists do? Okay. They ask you a question and you run your mouth for a long time. And basically what they become is a sounding board. Ultimately, you end up arriving at your own answer, right? Your own solution. Right. And the whole time you literally figured out your own problem. You just needed somebody else to talk to you about it, so that it forced you to deliberate and map and start thinking about all these things. And then finally, you kind of, you kind of funnel it down to, oh, this is it. Why would I kill myself again? All this stuff up here was stupid. Here I am. And you begin, hopefully. That's what it comes down to. Counseling is really having somebody else just listen to you and nod their head, go, yep, here's some statistics, yep, here's some more statistics, yep. You just feed the machine. You're the one fixing yourself. If you can learn to do that on your own, then you wouldn't need to go see a psychotherapist. You wouldn't need to talk to people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying the faster you can recover, the faster your life picks back up, and the faster you can be happy. Yeah. I've seen some things. Honestly, I've went through some stuff that nothing worse than watching your friend die in your arms. You're not a damn thing you can do about it, and you're by yourself. And then when you look at the bigger picture. It's like, damn, this guy, it was supposed to be me that got killed and not him. He died in my place. Then you have this thing called survivor's, remorse, guilt, and I had that for a couple of years, man. Every day I'd wake up and that was the first thing in my mind. It's like, man, I got a cement truck parked in my chest of nothing but guilt. And that basically is not a good way to start your day, because you're starting it in a negative mindset with negative energy. It's actually a part of self-hypnosis. And that's a whole nother lesson there. But basically I'm setting myself up for not an optimal day. Let's put it that way. Might be some good things to happen, but it's not going to be an optimal day. And I'm not going to be my optimal self because I've got this burden I'm carrying around and I haven't resolved it yet. I did go see a psychologist to talk about it. And honestly, when I look, what was that, and so you're in charge of that. You're writing the script. You make the choices. You cannot say, well, I don't have this, I don't have money, I don't have blah, 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 blah. You know what? And one of the lessons we learned in Delta Force, and we said it all the time, was, there is absolutely nothing we cannot do and do it better than anybody else out there. And it doesn't matter what it is. If the Department of Army said, hey, you guys need to start up an artillery unit within Delta, and you got to be good at it and deployable. Like, okay, we'll go out and get all the artillery pieces, the ammunition, the training. We'll put it all together, and then we'll compete against the other artillery teams, and we will be the best. Okay, that was our mindset. It was always our mindset. I remember sitting around, the cafeteria tables during lunch with the guys. We're all sitting around. We talked quite a bit about, the experience of being a Delta operator and the future. When we're out, what are we going to do? And it was commonly thought and said that, there's nothing, none of us can achieve out in the world. We can start our own companies. We can do lots of great things because of our work ethic, our can-do attitude. We're calculated risk takers. And all these traits that we had that allowed us to become a Delta Force operator, we can apply that in the civilian world. And I'll be damned. Guess who started Triple Canopy? A Delta Force operator. Guess who started Global Security Consultants? Me, a Delta Force operator. Guess who's running companies right now? Me, a Delta Force operator. I can go on and on and on. Okay, because of that mindset. And so we weren't necessarily born with it. Maybe we were, but we definitely became aware of it by being in the unit. I did. And so it's not a trait that's just unique to Delta operators, because much as I don't like Bill Gates, look at Bill Gates. Guy don't even have a college degree. Tony Robbins. Look at Elon Musk. Look at all these guys, man. Why are they special? Well, these guys, they put the work in, right? And so they created their dreams, as I have. And and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but Christ Jiminy, I dreamed one day of living on a tropical island somewhere, beautiful weather, nice girls, great culture, do what I want to do. Actually, when I was thinking about Gilligan's Island, right? It's like, how cool would that be to live on a little island and your white pants are white every day and you got a little red shirt and a white cap and you're always clean and you got 2 hot chicks on the island with you and a bunch of other nerds and everything's just pristine and perfect, right? And I remember thinking about that in 2006 and I know what I did. I manifested that subconsciously. And essentially, I don't live on Gilligan's Island. I live on Bali, but, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of similarities in that. I wake up in the morning looking right out at my swimming pool in the courtyard at the palm trees and got a beautiful wife, beautiful culture, warm weather. I work when I want to. I was like, man, I'm actually living the dream. 2006, and I didn't do it deliberately. I just kind of gravitated towards that because I had this vision. I stayed on azimuth. The azimuth included a trail of success, right? Little successes, little wins along the way. But I always knew what my objective was. My objective was always to be sovereign, independent, and without a boss. I've never worked for a boss since I retired out of the Army in 2001. I've never had a boss. And was I gifted? No. My dad had a 11th grade education. My mom had a 9th grade education. Nobody on either side of the family had a college degree. I came from 4 white folks, all right? And I joined the Army, because I was an idiot in school. Right? I didn't have good grades, but I pulled it off anyways. And you know why I pulled it off? Because one, my dad was really disappointed I didn't go to college like he wanted me to. He wanted me to be the first, but I felt like I was beholden to going to college. I wanted to make him proud, so I put myself through my bachelor's and master's degree in the Army as a Green Beret and a Delta Force operator. Yeah, I tried that. tried pulling that off, and married with 3 kids, and being a professional boxer, yeah, at the same time, right? And so, but I did it, right? And before my father died, I had finished my master's degree, was working on my PhD, and so I did it out of love, for my father. And so that gave me my purpose to stay oriented to where I needed to go in life. And that road has yielded so many other great things for me, like businesses, my wife, and all these other opportunities in life. I should have never been on television. I got on television, a SEAL. Okay. One day, he was a friend of mine. He knew the producer of the Discovery Channel. They wanted to make this movie a TV show called One Man Army. He goes, "Hey, I got a guy that might fit the bill." Connected us. I did all the interviews. Actually, it was funny. I did the interviews in Afghanistan on a deployment one night in my little pod, and I had these. It was funny. Yeah. I had a girl interview me, and she'd ask me all these questions, and I had it locked in pretty good. And then finally at the end, she's like, "Okay, well, the interview went really, really well. I got to ask you to do one more thing." And I'm like, "Okay, what?" She goes, "I need you to stand up and take your shirt off." I go, "Oh, okay." And all these girls start popping in her stuff. And these little script action. Oh, is that what that's going to take? I got it. But no, I got the show. And then, the next thing you know, I got NBC calling me. I got all these other producers calling me. And then all of a sudden now I'm a Hollywood dude, And so, that was a road I went down for a minute. I took it as far as I felt like I was comfortable with it, and then realized, my world is in the security, saving people's lives world, and so that's how I ended up back in Hong Kong, running security details and things like that. So, anyways, I kind of went all over some tangents there, but the moral of the story is, again, I'll say, suicide's selfish, man. There is always a better life in front of you. You just haven't got there yet, but you will. We all do, but you got to put the work in, right? It's called the law of action. Nothing just happens. If you're waiting on luck, good luck with that, because there is no luck coming. You manifest what you believe and what you put your energy and effort into. Okay. If you believe that, committing suicide would suck, then don't do it. Put your energy into living. All right. And being happy, turn that energy around, because that's all it is, and create the life that you want. Stop saying you can't. Okay. Stop saying you can't. I used to beat that in my kids' brains, all of them growing up. I said, we don't ever use the words can't in this house, ever. Understand? Yes, sir. Your bag's full. And then I wasn't allowed. It was not allowed. I don't like that word. I can't do it. Well, it's like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can, you're right. You can't. It's either way, it's true. So stop thinking that way. Especially when it comes to taking your life. It's the dumbest, selfish thing you'll ever it's the last thing you'll ever do. And and basically you just forfeited what would have been probably an amazing experience for the rest of your life. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to live for at least another 40. I got that locked in. All right. That's the plan. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going to do. In the meantime, I'm going to live it in the next 40 years like a spry 20, 30-year-old, just like I am now. I'm going to do a lot of things. I still do them. I box. In fact, I'm going to go box this summer. I'm going to go back to the ring as a professional in the heavyweight division as a boxer. I want to do another round. And I'm going to get on stage as a competitive bodybuilder in the master's division in the heavyweight division. I'm going to do it right at 60. Why not? I'm not too because people say you're old. You're kind of old. No, you're old. Your old way of thinking has no place in my world, because my way is not old way of thinking. It's a new, young way of thinking, and it's a realistic way of thinking. And
yeah, I know.
It comes to this, man. My teeth.
Hey, let's go, man. I'm ready to see you back in the ring.
I'll go back. I've already kind of figured it out. What I'll do is, I'm gonna do 4 rounds. Is what I want to do. 4 rounds, 3-minute rounds. If my competitor, if he's over 55, he can be any weight he wants. Right? He can be 300 pounds. I don't care. He can come in 120 pounds. I don't care. If the guy is 54 and below, he's got to be within 10 pounds of my weight, whatever my weight's going to be at the time. My guess, I'll probably be about 190 pounds. And he'll have to come in at least 180. Okay. And be no more than, I'm going to give him 200 pounds, right? 10 below and 10 above. And I'll take him an inch, And so I'm very confident that I can win. It's not, it's not like, wishful thinking. I'm just so confident that it doesn't even unnerve me even a little bit. It's like, I may short work with this guy if I want, I'm a pretty good fighter as well. But it's all mindset, and I'll be prepared, I'll be in shape. My defense will be good. I'll apply all the principles of defense and offense, because that's what I do. And in worst case scenario, it's like, okay, I'm getting overwhelmed, I'm getting overrun. He's going to hurt me. Just tap out. Okay, man, you got it. No shame in that. I took to the plate, took a swing, and struck out. Okay, I'll try to get again. Give me a couple more months to get back in the ring. But this is the thing too. Is finding your purpose in life. I always have to find purpose in life, right? Because I've lived to an American woman, because there's nothing in it for him but potential grief, heartache, and loss of everything. 80% of women initiate divorces. 90% of college degreed women initiate divorces. And it's almost over 90%, almost 95% of the time, the men lose most everything, if not everything. I've lost all my premarital assets. I've lost my daughter. I pay a big chunk of money towards child support. In lieu of paying alimony, they literally gave her all my premarital assets. Like, damn, and handed me all her taxes to pay too. It's just got crazy, right? And so, I'm like, I will never, ever marry another American woman. This system is so broken, so wrong. And the culture now has just gotten so, sideways. It's like, damn. And so, I married an Asian woman. I'm not racist. I'm a white guy, okay? And I married an Asian woman. And by the way, she's Muslim. She's a Muslim Asian woman, all right? Now, she ain't a good Muslim. She wears booty shorts and boobs hang out, and she wears fingernail polish and likes to dance. But nonetheless, that's her religion. And there's guys out there now, you may have heard of them before, called the passport bros, MGTOW, men going their own way. So there's a large movement of men, a trend of American men going abroad to find their bride, find the women they want to be with, because of the gender roles are different, the culture is different. And, I actually put a post out this morning on Facebook about, look, man, I don't want a woman coming up to me and go, hey, I'm a good woman because I have my own job, make my own money, I'm independent, I have my own career, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't want to marry another man. Okay, I want a woman. And so, we're not compatible. And this is actually like a lot of men, how they feel. And so we have this culture where men and women are, in large, now antagonistic, thanks to the feminist movement. They have really poisoned the minds of a lot of women. They've poisoned the legal system. And like I said a minute ago, there's no incentive for American men to get married to American women. I would tell you right now, hey, just date them, but don't get them pregnant. Just date them, have fun, but be your own man, do your own thing, and don't let them bring you down, because no matter how great you think this person is or how much you love them and how bad they're doing it, there's always a better one right down the road. They're like buses. Keep coming. And men, by the way, as we age, we're like fine wine. We just get better and better and better. Women, they got a shelf life. They start getting over 35. It's like, in Indonesia, if a woman's more than 25 years old, everybody's like, what's wrong with you? And she could be as pretty as hell. Like, what happened to her? She's 25 years old. She's considered like, nobody wants her. She's all washed up at 25. Okay, my wife was married off at 15. At 15, married off. Her mom married her off, right? It's Muslim type thing, but it didn't work out. She wasn't happy. She ended up with a bunch of kids that father didn't take care of. But again, I will caution guys out there, man, do not let a woman control you, pull your heartstrings and take advantage of you, man. If they're not bringing something to the table, like something really tangible and substantive, besides their cootie cat,
like a cheese steak, like a nice steak, huh? If they ain't bringing those steaks to the table
and they ain't cooking it, I don't need you. You better learn how to cook it.
If you ain't bringing a ribeye, then we ain't talking.
Exactly. I'm gonna bring you actually cooking, right? So, and you watch it do it over, done with. Damn it, that's how it works.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So again, I'm talking to the guys out there. I'm not knocking all women. Not all men. I know a lot of good women out there. They get it. They didn't buy into the propaganda by the leftist feminists out there. But she's my wife's Indonesian. We've been together for 8 years, and it's almost like every day is our first date. It's amazing because we do have gender roles. She knows that I'm going to bring in the bread, the income. I'm going to manage a lot of the big projects and things that we do. And her job is essentially to handle all the other stuff that I don't have time for. Like, hey, let's keep the house clean, dog room, take care of this, go run down and get this license, blah, 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 blah. She does her part, but most importantly, her part that she wants to do. And is her most important part to her is taking care of me, literally taking care of me. I mean, everything you can imagine, it's like, wow. I wake up with breakfast in bed. My clothes are always washed, ironed, and hung up by colors and types. It's like, damn, it's almost like being in the military again, but there's a big difference. But yeah, I'm happy as hell. I got kids. I got lots of kids. I got 9, actually. Some of them are stepchildren, hers, but
Well, you're a proud father, man.
Yeah, well, and they just keep coming and coming. I don't know how to make them stop.
Yeah.
My oldest one, I think, is 37. My youngest one is 4.5, and I got a whole bunch in between. Different ranges and different ages. So different ethnicities too. So actually, I've got 3 kids from their mother's black. I got a daughter, her mom's Panamanian Chinese, and I have another daughter who's also Asian. Yeah, so.
Wow, amazing.
So so nobody out there can call me a racist or whatever they want to call me. It's like none of that was water.
No. You got like it would be like a new age American the Brady family.
Yeah, it's
a new age.
Yeah, it's a combined family, and it works, I mean, here I am raising other men's children, that didn't raise their kids, and I raised them like my own. Just being responsible, being a good father and a good husband to my wife, and it all works, it's quid pro quo, something for something. Everybody has something in this. Everybody gets something out of this, and what's most important is everybody happy at the end of the day, and it always comes down to that. We can have nothing as long as we're happy. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're happy, that's at the end of the day, that's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
No matter your religion, your race, or your ethnical background, or if you're poor or rich, whether you have a family or you don't, you just want to be happy at the end of the day.
And I tell everybody, it's your job to make yourself happy. It's your other half's job to make themselves happy. And hopefully you guys can be happy together, but don't ever try to make somebody else happy or expect somebody else to make you happy, because eventually that won't work and somebody's going to be disappointed. So when you go into a relationship, go in with low expectations. If you go in with low expectations, then when things go wrong, you won't be as disappointed. Like, I didn't expect much anyway. That's how I approach my relationships in life. It's like I have a low expectation. I don't expect much, and as a consequence, I get a lot. It's like, wow, I'm getting more than I ever expected. So it's pretty good. I know people, if there's any women out there going, oh my God, he's a misogynist, and he's so insensitive. Well, maybe I am. I don't know, but I know what makes me happy, and I know what makes most men happy, and telling them, I make my own money, I have my own job, I got my own college degree, I did this and I did that, I can do anything a man can do. Well, guess what? Most men don't want to hear that, and we don't care. We don't want that. We don't want that. I don't. I got what I want. I got exactly what I want. Oh my God, man. 10x. And this is why guys are going their own way. This is why they're getting their passports and launching, man. Anyways, this is not about them so much as it is about, the guys and anyone contemplating suicide. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. You can call me. I mean, I'm not hard to reach. You can find me on the internet, all over the internet. You can find me on Instagram, Official American Badass. I'm on that frequently, I guess. You can get me on Facebook. I got LinkedIn. I'm on that quite a bit. And I have a website, actually a couple ones, COMSTOCK.com, and you can message me through there. And I also have Tier 1 Performance Coaching. You can get me and my partner Joe Tedai through that site also. So there's ways to reach me. It's not hard, and my number's available out there as well. So shoot me a message. You got some issues, we'll talk about it. I won't charge you. I'm not every man, but I'd rather see you live and be happy than die for what? For nothing, man. There ain't nothing in this world so bad that you got to kill yourself for it. I mean, there's nothing, man. You're gonna die, do it for something honorable, man, like saving somebody's life or something. But your life, you save it. You're not saving it. You're taking it. You're hurting people. Kind of like my grandfather did, man. Like, damn, thought he loved me more than that. And there are people out there that love you, even if you don't think so. There are people out there that care. Not everybody cares, but there's some people out there that you will break their heart, and they'll probably forget about you in 30 days after everything's said and done. But still, there are people you will affect. directly and indirectly. You know, we'll always have to consider. Nobody's gonna go, oh my God, what? Why did he commit suicide? We need to find out why he committed suicide, and so that never happens again. Well, his heart was broken by a girl. Well, we got to stop that. How are you going to stop that? You can't. That's just life. You just got to learn how to cope with it. You know, you just got to learn how to cope with it. 4 sources of knowledge. I mentioned that earlier. So, anyways, here we are. World according to me.
Well, everybody. Well, we salute you. The world salutes you. America salutes you. The American badass. Dale COMSTOCK. Delta Force.
All right, appreciate it. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.